Welcome back to Tudo Tuga, the Everything Portuguese Soccer Podcast. It is episode number 4, and quite frankly, I really wasn't sure if we were going to be in a good mood doing this one, especially the way things were going. My goodness, Portugal versus France turned out to be an absolute classic. It was a nail-biter. It gave all the drama that you could have imagined. It is fantastic. My name is Kevin Jesus. Of course, it's Christian Ferrer, Mitch Ferrer, and we are your Tudo Tuga podcast hosts. Thanks again for joining us. We are live streaming right now on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and to like and recommend to all your friends. Don't forget to also send us all of your questions. So we look forward to hearing from you all, and we're going to talk a lot of soccer here today. But let's start off with Portugal versus France. You know, we are broadcasting to you from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where it is hot. We have a heat wave right now, and my goodness, that game Portugal-France was pretty hot itself. Portugal-France 2-2, the final. And how are your hearts feeling, guys?
Good. I felt a lot better after we got through Hungary and Germany's draw, but it was back and forth. I think through the game we were in first in the group, we were in second in the group, we were in third in the group, we were fourth in the group. Yeah, we went through every single position in the group.
My heart took a beating for sure. Like at one point, I'm like, oh, we're beating France. We're gonna get first in the group, but then, next thing you know, we're losing. Like, oh man, we're gonna be knocked out. You know what I mean? Like, it was an emotional wreck. Like, our emotions were everywhere.
Well, the thing was,
I don't know what was
the crowd. Every time Hungary would score, you could hear the crowd go crazy. In the France game. Yeah. So you'd be like, oh, fuck sakes. Hungary scored. Then you go to your phone and be like, oh, you got it kidding me?
Yeah. And I think that was the part that was just, I don't know what was more intense, was watching the game itself or watching the live standings on the Euro 2020 website. I mean, you literally went from third place to first place to second place to last place. Like, it was stressful. I think I spent more time watching the standings than I did the actual game. Like, it was crazy. But anyways, let's talk about the game. Portugal-France 2-2. What did you guys think? I mean, it was quite the game. Portugal actually, they played really. We talked about last podcast that if Portugal plays their style, if they play their way, if they don't play to lose or to draw, they just do what they need to do, they'll look good. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Honestly, they were not organized against Germany. I believe there was 4 tackles that whole game against Germany. Yeah. So, our intensity was very low. That willingness was very low. But you know what? Us knowing Portugal, we know that it seems to get a performance out of Portugal, we have to have our backs against the wall, like every single time. That's why we struggle through qualification, groups, all the time. Like, once our backs are pushed against the wall, we usually get a good performance. And I don't know if you do this, Mitch. Portugal's never been knocked out of the Euro group before, ever in their history. So we do have a good track record, but definitely a huge difference. Huge difference.
No, I like the way they came in. Fernando changed it up a little bit. He went with a 4-1-4-1. So different look to the side against France. Dropping 4 across the midfield like that, I think he was trying to correct some of the weaknesses we were seeing against Germany, and it allowed Jota and Bernard to get back a little bit and support our left and right back. So I think that helped. You definitely saw Bernard defending more and Jota defending more, which helped. I think both our fullbacks, I think, played really well. I know we've roasted Nelson Semedo on here a few times, but he did really well, man, against Kylian Mbappe, who's arguably one of the best players in the world right now. Yes. So I mean, he played really well, man. I think he tackled well. I think positionally he was well. He was good getting up, going forward. And I think also Fernando Santos had our center backs doubling up. So you saw a couple of times Semedo get burned, which, I mean, I'm not gonna. It's Mbappe, right? But as soon as he did, Pep was right there, and I think Pep had a really, really great game. I think Danilo played really well in that kind of sole 6 role. So it was, I think, tactically, Fernando Santos got it right against France.
Yes,
he really did.
I think that 4-1-4-1, it looked more like a 4-1-4-1 because of how the team defended as a group this time. Whereas before, I think Nelson Semedo mostly, a little bit of Guerreiro, but mostly Nelson Semedo got exposed because we weren't defending as a team.
Yeah.
I feel like they fixed a lot of their mistakes against Germany. They were now, if you looked when France got the ball in their end, boom, somebody tackling them. So you know, like it was one of those things where I think Fernand Santos learned from his mistakes, and like you said perfectly, man. I think another reason why Nelson Smith had such a good game is because they seen that they got to defend with two. So Nelson Smith was with Mbappe, Pep was right there, you know, and exact same thing on the other side. There's a lot of doubling up, and it was team defense.
Yeah. They defended as a unit.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss Pep, by the way, when he retires, because he's
arguably our best defenseman right now.
1,000%. 1,000%. Okay, so the big question, though, from that game, was this a penalty? In this picture, by the way, courtesy the Associated Press, was this a penalty?
Man, for me, okay, anybody that really knows the game, if that goalie got there first, if he punched it first, then hit Danilo, that's not a penalty. But I think the fact that Danilo got there first, you can't really see it in this picture, but he actually hit off his head. Once it hit off his head, then it hit his hand. And then, man, look at that follow through. That's an elbow to the head. You know what I mean? That's a penalty all day.
You know what? I was really surprised how many people I had to debate this with. Because seeing it, I thought it was clear.
Yeah.
Like Danilo gets there first, he comes through, but not only does he punch, but it's that
elbow
through with the forearm elbow almost that could have cracked his skull, man. Like the force that he comes out with. So I actually had to debate this with a lot of people, because a lot of people were convinced this wasn't a penalty, because they figured Lloris got a touch on the ball, but to me it was clear as day. He gets there late. I mean, we talked about, so you brought up a good point. If take the cross out of it. Let's say you've got a forward coming into the 18-yard box, and you know the forward clips the ball past the keeper, okay, and the keeper clips the forward, but then clips the ball. It's a penalty all day.
100%.
If the player falls and he impedes the player from going after it, even though he touches the ball after, if he makes contact with the player, it's a penalty all day. So I mean, in a cross situation, it's no different. And I think that they also mentioned, you know, watching on TSN and stuff, they mentioned a dangerous play. Like it was just dangerous, a guy coming. I don't know if it's so much the danger aspect, because I mean the keeper has every right to go and punch that ball. The keeper, it's not like he went in there, studs up. The keeper in the box has every right to go and punch that ball. I think it was just the fact that he got there later. I think that was the issue. And then of course it's not just a punch; it's a follow through with the elbow.
So then, what about the France one? What about the France one when it came back? Is that a penalty?
See, the issue with that one is if you're going to call that a penalty, you're going to have 8 penalties each game. You know what I mean? It's not a penalty. They're both running for the ball. They both touched. You know, it was a clear dive. My issue with that is, okay, call it a penalty, but when it's something that close, get the referee to the monitor. You know, like I know a lot of pundits were talking about it. Like, why in these close calls so much on the line? And if you look, that goal could have knocked us out of the Euro. You know what I mean? Something that big, go to the line, because that's a clear dive. You know, you got to eliminate that out of soccer. I think that's one of the main issues right now in soccer is people diving in the box. Now that they know that there's VAR, it's getting worse, man. Like for me, that's such an important. That could have been such an important goal. I could have meant us going home, man.
I was just mind blown.
Very soft.
Very soft. I mean, the ball's coming over the top of Semedo. So Mbappe did not have a clear goal scoring opportunity.
No.
Because the ball was coming over top and he was trying to make a run. In order for him to gain position, because Nelson Semedo is playing in goal side, which is exactly what he should be doing. He's playing in goal side. Mbappe's got to try to get position on Semedo. in order for him to get into a goal scoring position, he's going to have to make body contact with Nelson Semedo.
Yeah,
It's impossible for him to because Nelson's marking him goal side. So in order for Mbappe to get into a goal scoring position, he's got to make contact with Semedo, and it's shoulder to shoulder. Where I think the ref thought that there was an infraction there is because Nelson raises his arm.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder. I mean,
so Mitch, do you think
could have raised his arm?
Do you think that was a makeup call though?
Yes.
I think that was the main issue. I think that they thought the first one was soft, even though looking back it wasn't. And I think it was one of those things where it was a makeup call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, just let the teams play. Just let the players play, guys. Like, it's just ridiculous. So Portugal ends up tying. So we take a look at the standings. France ends up finishing in first place. Germany and Portugal tied for second, but because of the Germany win, Germany ends up in second. Portugal finishes third. And then, of course, Hungary gets eliminated, which is a tough blow for Hungary. They played certainly very well. We had a question come in from one of our subscribers, our viewers. Thanks again for sending in a question. This was from João Martins. Was Fernando Santos that much wrong in his group stage approach? Why or why not? What do you guys think?
I think he was. I think you can't argue that. If you just look on social media, everybody's roasting him, saying why William and Danilo. You know, I think going into it, we have so much quality on the field, like Renato Sanches. Can we just take a moment and talk about how good he's been? Like this is a player that's, you know what, the Bayern had a horrible, you know, he did not do well in Germany. Then he got loaned to Swansea City. He did horrible. Do you see like his highlights? I'd message you and send you clips of his highlights.
His famous pass to the fucking.
Oh my God, he's been horrible. But like Leo has done him so well, man. He's world class. So playing William was a huge bust. Danilo hasn't been too bad, but them together, it's just been a complete bust. So yeah, he did get it wrong. I don't think anybody can argue it. But I don't want to just talk bad about him and not also praise him. He also did fix his mistakes. He subbed in well Rafa and Renato that game. Second game was another horrible thing. That's part of his stubbornness. He's played that lineup. But I think going into that Germany game, he adjusted his lineups. And it looks better now. But yeah, he did get it wrong, and he deserves criticism for sure at the beginning. But also praise because he fixed his mistakes and he got us out of the group.
So that takes us now to the round of 16. Portugal, they got put into a very difficult bracket. It's funny. In 2016, there was almost a sense of relief when Portugal finished third because it was the easier side of the bracket. The road to the final was a lot easier for Portugal. Well, it's the exact opposite this time around because they have got some tough opposition ahead of them. But you guys know I'm a big wrestling fan. So in the words of Ric Flair, if you want to beat the man, you got to, be the man, you got to beat the man. And that's what Portugal's going to have to do. And it starts with Belgium on Sunday at 1 p.m. What's the early thoughts here? Is Portugal strong enough to beat Belgium? And more importantly, will they beat Belgium?
Yeah, I definitely think we're strong enough. To your point, Christian, when talking about, sometimes Portugal needs to be there, have their back up against the wall. I was listening to some of the Portuguese commentators talk about the similarities in formation between Germany and Belgium, and kind of looking at it, Belgium plays either a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. Not exactly the same system as Germany, quite. It's similar. They don't quite use those two kind of interior wingers like Germany did, but very similar for the most part with the overlapping wing backs. And I almost think it almost served the purpose us getting destroyed the way we did by Germany, because it at least forced Fernando Sanches to really look at how to defend against that formation. And it could serve it could actually work in our favor coming into the Belgium game, that we've already played a team that exposed our weaknesses in that formation, because at least it gives him an opportunity to look back and try to fix what didn't work against a formation like that. So I think he's going to have to really look at how he lines up. It's going to be tough. And again, I hate going into games having to adjust our formation to our opposition, but it is what it is at this point. And I think Fernandez is just going to have to do that. I think Palhinha is going to have to come in this game. I don't know about you. I love the way Palhinha came in against France. He played really well, man. Oh my God. He's had some magic moments against France coming in. I think he's got a little bit more Fschura to come in and maybe man mark De Bruyne. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but De Bruyne for me is the big worry. Obviously Lukaku as well, but De Bruyne is the type of player who can just...
Oh, for sure.
So, Christian, before you even get to that, because Mitch, you're bringing up some points that actually some of our subscribers have actually asked. So I want to kind of incorporate some of their questions here to continue on this conversation. Paul De Silva asks, what does Portugal have to do to beat Belgium? Kevin Jadal's, will Portugal be able to hold back Belgium's potent offense on Sunday? So again, these are questions that you were kind of already touching on them, but Christian, what do you think here?
So you mentioned they play a 3-4-3, right? So if you look, we could still play a 4-3-3. It's just how they defend, right? So if you have your wingers come back and mark those guys, then we're looking at a different formation defending as we are attacking, right? So I think it just comes down to, like you said, learn from the Germany game. And I think we did it against France. So if you look at the Germany game, our wingers, their defensive work rate was horrible. I think they had 4 tackles that whole game. Yeah. Whereas in France, they came back, they were tackling right in their end right away, taking smart fouls. Way better defensively. I think we could both agree on that. So how we adjust to Belgium, although I don't think we necessarily have to change our formation offensively, but defensively we do with their wing backs coming in for sure. So and then when you talked about Palhinha and about you liked his energy and how well he did, I mentioned in the last podcast that he's a lot more direct. Whereas Danilo and those, we had a lot of players moving the ball left to right. So I think with Khanat coming in and Palhinha coming in, there's a lot more energy. He gets the ball forward. They want to run at defenders. They want to run at the players. They want to get the ball forward. And that energy in the midfield will help us a lot. And what you mentioned about Palhinha marking De Bruyne, I agree with that. Because Palhinha is a big body. He's going to be right on him. He's a great ball winner. Yeah. I think he can neutralize him very well.
So does the 4-3-3 with Palhinha, Renato, and Moutinho work versus Belgium's 3-4-3? That's a question from Danny Fernandes. And Rich Ferreira also asked, how will Santos set up Portugal to neutralize and counter Belgium's formation? We kind of already talked a little bit about that, but would the 4-3-3 with Palhinha, Renato, and Moutinho work against Belgium's 3-4-3?
No, I don't think it does. I know you're thinking it does. I don't. I think it has to be a 4-1-4-1 again, because I think as soon as you move to the 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, it just pushes those two wingers way too high up, and it completely exposes our flanks. Mm-hmm. And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? He's got to learn from Germany, and I think pushing those two wingers into a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 where you have Jota and Bernardo Silva higher up the pitch exposes those flanks. I think you've seen the way that the 4-1-4-1 worked against France, where they're playing more as a left and right mid rather than kind of a winger or a left and right forward. I think they need to drop back a little bit and offer that support into our left and right back. Otherwise, we're gonna be exposed the same way we were against Germany. Yeah. So I don't think that formation is gonna work. He's got to go into a 4-1-4-1, or like I mentioned against Germany, either you do the 4-1-4-1 where your outside midfielders are supporting and covering their wing backs, or you completely change up the formation. And like I said against Germany, you go 5 across the back, right, and you allow now your left and right backs to now fully kind of focus on their wing backs. But again, it's a formation we've never played. I don't know how comfortable they're going to be. Or you go with the 4-2-3-1 and you make your essentially your 2 6s, your 2 CDMs are going to be man marking in the middle, and that again it allows your left and right back to cover those wing back positions a little bit more. But I liked the way the 4-1-4-1 worked against France. I think he's going to go with that, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think he will play Palhinha over Danilo. Number one, we don't know if Danilo potentially got injured. We know he was subbed off at halftime against France, so we don't know if he's injured. And number two, I just think he looked a little bit fresher. He was a lot more lively, a lot more energetic than Danilo, and I think we're going to need that little more speed, a little bit more energy, especially considering we're going to be in Sevilla. It's going to be hot as fuck there. The players are going to be tired. They're coming off 2 exhausting games. You got to remember, Belgium, not only do they have 2 extra days of rest, but that last game against Finland, they rested most of their big players. So they've even got 2 extra days of rest. And in these games where they're so close together, players are coming off of tiring seasons. They're playing in high temperature heats. It's that rest could play a huge factor.
I also think too, though, you want that rest, you want them to be fresh, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing that you're already in a rhythm, you're already in a routine. So that could also play a bit of Portugal's advantage there. Christian, you look like you have something ready to say.
Yeah, so I agree with you with the 4-1-4-1. I think we can play a 4-3-3 offensively and adjust defensively. So with our wingers coming back and defending just like against France. I have another thing to ask you. Does Bruno play? So my argument is there's a rivalry between Bruno Fernandes and Kevin De Bruyne. They're always linked together. And one plays for Manchester United, one plays for Manchester City. They're both linked. They're very similar positions. One argues Fernandes better. One argues Kevin De Bruyne's better. So I think that rivalry can push him a little more. And he got sat last game, as you know. And that play he did at the end, I don't think he came in well. He could have cost us that loss at the end. So I think that's a huge question mark. Does Bruno play or Moutinho? Most people lean Moutinho. Even I would lean a little bit more to Moutinho. But I think Fernandes, that's a key position. I think that's a huge problem for Fernandes Sanchez. Does he play Moutinho or Bruno Fernandes? I just wanted to ask you what you think on that.
No,
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes cannot play this game, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing with Bruno Fernandes. We've seen a lot of Bruno Fernandes play in the EPL, and this is one of his biggest criticisms, and I have to kind of agree. He's not a big game player, man.
Yeah.
The big games, he tends to just kind of disappear. You don't see him, and he hasn't shown up for us this year. And man, with the performance Moutinho put in against France, and I know Moutinho's older, and there's a lot of people who criticize Moutinho, and I know he can't put in 90 minutes, but I honestly don't see Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, because he's an amazing player, and we need an amazing player like him to step up. We really do. We need that, because one of the things I think we lack is that creative. I talk about all the time. Either João Felix is somebody to bring in a little creativity, and somebody that cause some magic, beat a player like Renato does. And I know we always say we're kind of missing that. So we need Bruno Fernandes at his best, but we haven't seen him. So how do you make the argument to bring him in when he just hasn't performed, man?
So to add on to that, if you look at Euro 2016, who is our next best player? Nani, right? I'd say.
Nani, yeah.
Euro 2004, we had Manish. Euro 2000, players like João Pinto. Who's our next guy on this team? We can't be relying on Ronaldo this whole time. Our stars need to step up. That's a huge criticism we have right now. And I know we have a tough group. Group F, hardest group. And it was an amazing group, by the way. But what other player has stepped up? I know Renato came in well. I know São Patrice made a big saves. But other than that, we're just relying on Ronaldo. Our stars need to come out. If we want to do anything this tournament, they've been sleeping.
I agree.
A guy like Diaz, he's like arguably that people are saying he's the best defenseman in the world, and it's after the season he had with Van Dijk being hurt. Yeah, you can argue he's the best, but he hasn't been the best for Portugal. So we need our other players to step up, man.
But I think the thing we need to also remember is Portugal is the type of team that they like to they play at their best when they're most under pressure. They always make it difficult in qualifying. They always make it difficult in group stages. Now they're in you win and you're in. You lose, you're out. It's that simple. There's no room for error. I think this is where you're going to see a much different team. I do agree they have been relying a lot on Cristiano Ronaldo. I also agree that Bruno Fernandes should not be starting against Belgium. But you know what? Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs this reality check, and that, spurs him and gives him that confidence to move forward. So quickly now, Portugal, Belgium, who wins? We'll start with you, Mitch.
I'm not going to fucking pick Belgium, right? So, mata-mata. I'm going to say Portugal. I think it's going to be an extra time win. I think we're going to take it into extra time. I do think there's going to be some goals in this game. I agree with you. You and I talked about it before, and I think there is going to be some goals in this game. I could see a 3-2 win in extra time.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight game, but I do think there's gonna be some goals, and that's my prediction.
I said honestly the same thing. I have it written down here: 3-2 Portugal. I even said it's either in 90 minutes or extra time. 100% we're winning. I think there's going to be goals. I think defensively we both, Portugal. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they're one of the teams that got scored on the most. One of them for sure. Yeah. But we also scored the most goals. So.
Yeah, we scored as many.
So I think and then Belgium being so powerful in the offense, I think there's going to be goals both ways. I just hope, and I don't know what you think about this, that it's not just Ronaldo 3 goals. I hope Jota steps up. I hope Bernardo steps up. I hope one of these big boys step up and also contribute to this team.
Now listen, that would be nice, but in the end, I don't care. If Ronaldo scores 15 goals, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a win, it's a win. It doesn't matter who's scoring them, right? Like that's.
Fernando said in a press conference, he said, "Isto é mata-mata," so it's knockout, and it's not para jogar, é para ganhar. So it's not to play, it's to win.
And one more thing to add to that. Remember what he said in 2016? Só vou bolar no último jogo.
Yeah.
E vou ser reconhecido em festa. He also said, I don't know if he caught this. And he said, if Portugal plays Germany in the final, we're winning again. And the way it's looking, we could beat Germany in the final.
Okay. I don't even think Germany gets past England.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just thought I'd throw it out there. He's been right before, so.
But Lukaku was being interviewed, and they asked him. They said, "Have you been practicing your penalty shots?" And he says, "Yeah, I practiced a little bit, but we'll decide the game before penalty shots." Belgium's feeling very, very confident going into this game against Portugal.
I've said for a long time, Belgium has never impressed me. I've never been sold on them. I'm just not a fan of them. But this is going to be a very difficult test for Portugal. I know you guys are going with Portugal. My heart is going with Portugal. I really think Portugal can win. I think there's many different justifications I can make for Portugal to win. If I were to put money down, I think I might lean towards Belgium. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's going to be a heck of a game. Regardless of the result, I'm not going to be surprised. But it will be interesting. So then that sets up the rest of the round of 16. So let's quickly go through them. Let me just bring this up here so we can see. So I've already making the liberty of picking Portugal. I've also taken the liberty to pick Italy over Austria because I think that's a no-brainer, or am I wrong?
No, 100%. Honestly, it'd be an amazing story if Austria could pull it through Italy. But man, I don't think how many games has Italy gone without conceding?
It's 33 games without a loss.
But how much without a goal? I think it's 11 games.
Yeah, 11 games. That sounds right.
So yeah, I don't think Austria is going to be the. I mean, it's knockout. Anything could happen.
Yeah, exactly. You could have a
all due respect. I think to pick Austria here would just be a slap in the face to Italy. I think they rightfully will get through.
I mean, look at this side of this bracket. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is just insane. So, France, Switzerland, what do you guys think?
France.
I mean, I'm not going to be the guy to pick Switzerland over France. So, yeah.
Okay, Croatia, Spain. This one's interesting. This is a tough one. Mitch, what do you think?
Spain.
I mean, if you ask me in the first 2 games Spain played, I'd say Croatia had a chance, but after that last blow, and they're not looking good.
They played okay in their last game, but they have not.
Yeah, I think Spain will.
Okay, so let's just take a look at this quarterfinal. Like Portugal,
Wow.
Italy, France, Spain. Like that's insane. We'll get to that in just a second. Sweden, Ukraine. I'm going to tackle this one. I think Sweden has looked pretty decent throughout the tournament. Ukraine has just been, they're just very inconsistent. So I'm going to give it to the Swedes. You guys?
Yeah,
Honestly, I agree. They're playing great. A quick question for you, Kevin, though.
Yeah.
You think they're better with or without Zlatan? That's a huge argument with Swedish fans. Huge.
But you know what, though? That's the argument people make about Portugal and Ronaldo. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, they're doing well right now, so it is what it is. Let's get to England, Germany in a bit because I think that one might actually have a lot more discussion. Netherlands versus the Czech Republic. Who do we think there?
I think the Netherlands. I don't know if you've seen the team of the group stage that they released. They had 4 Dutch players.
Yeah.
So they've been playing really well.
Yeah,
I mean, they haven't really been fully tested.
yeah.
That's an issue that you got to look at. But yeah, I
Okay,
think with Czech Republic, it's Netherlands.
And Wales, Denmark. Let me just where am I here? Wales, Denmark. That game right now is in the 27th minute. It is scoreless. I mean, it's you never really want to go against Gareth Bale, but at the same time, Denmark has looked really good. In fact, had Denmark, Christian Eriksen not gone down with that heart situation against Finland, they would have easily beaten Finland. Denmark would have been undefeated. I think Denmark is a very dangerous team. I'd be leaning towards them. I see Mitch nodding. Christian, you agree? Disagree?
So I always think there's an upset. I mean, they're still pretty close. I mean 2-1. You guys got to pick Denmark, but I would lean towards the Wales. But
I just think Denmark's. With what happened with Eriksen, I think they're up for it. They're,
okay. 2-1. We'll give it to Denmark.
Okay, England, Germany. This is the one that I have struggled with for a long time, trying to figure out which way it's going to go. I mean, Germany can be a very dangerous team, but they have not looked good, not only just in this tournament, but in the lead up to it. England came into the tournament one of the favorites. They certainly struggled throughout the group stage. But how do you bet against England at Wembley? I mean, that's difficult. But then Euro 96 semifinals, obviously Germany proved that you can. So I'm going to go with England. I'm still very high on England. So I'm going to go with the Brits over Germany.
I feel like the English national team is very not in terms of players, but like their mentality is the same. I think they're underachieving. I think a lot of people are putting heat on the coach and with lineups and stuff. I don't think they hit second gear yet. But yeah, it's tilted towards England for sure. But Germany, you don't know what they could either lose 4-0 or win 4-0. You don't know what you're gonna get with Germany. So I mean, I'll probably tilt towards England.
I'm going to go with England as well.
Yeah.
I think playing at Wembley, and I think they've got, if Southgate plays the right mix of players, I think they've got a lot of tools there and weapons that they can hurt Germany, especially with that back line that have looked very questionable at times.
So then that sets up a Sweden-England quarterfinal, Netherlands-Denmark. That'll actually be a good matchup. Then, of course, you have France, Spain, Portugal versus Italy. We're not going to waste any time talking about that stuff because let's just wait and see what happens before we get there. So let me just get back. Here we go. So we're done with showing that stuff. Okay, so that's out of the way. It's going to be an exciting time. We're getting towards the end of this podcast. This just always flies fast when we're having fun.
Quickly though, lineup prediction for Portugal Belgium.
So this is what we always struggle with. There's my lineup, and then there's Fernand Sanch's lineup. So I think Fernand Sanch. I'll talk for Fernand Sanch. I think he's going to play Rui Patrice, Nelson Smith, Pep Diaz, Guerreiro. I think he's stubborn. He's going to play Danilo, although I think Palhinha, a lot of people agree with that. I think he'd be better suited against Belgium. And I think he's going to play Moutinho, Renat, Bernardo, Ronaldo, and Jota. I think that's what he's going to pick. I would substitute Guerreiro for Menge, although Guerreiro's been having a great tournament. I don't know. I have my personal opinion on it that I think Menge is really good defensively, very fast.
The fact he plays for Sporting.
Yeah.
0.
No, I promise. It's actually not. He's really, really, really good player. I'd play Palhinha. I'd play. I mean, I'd lean towards Montiel. Not gonna lie. Although it's hard when you have a player as good as Bruno. I know you have a lot of criticism towards him, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
I would lean towards Montiel, although if Bruno started, I wouldn't be against it. Renat, Bernardo, Ronaldo, and Jota.
You're playing 4-3-3.
Yeah, but see that this is the thing though. It looks like a 4-3-3, okay? But when they defend, it's going to look a lot like against 4-1-4-1 because like on paper it looks 4-3-3, but they would play a lot like they played against France. With defending as a team, being really compact, Jota coming back, helping defend, Bernardo same thing. Yeah. So that's what I would go.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'd go Patricio. I'd go Dalot in the right back role. I don't know if Nelson hurt himself at the end of the game. There, it looked like he tweaked his knee a little bit. Maybe I don't know.
Looked like Cambriash.
What's that?
Cambriash, muscle loss.
So I don't know, but I like the way Dalot came in. Again, I think defensively he might be a little bit more sound than Nelson. So I'm gonna go with Dalot, even though that may not be what the sense goes with, but that's what I would go with. Diaz and Pep in the middle. Guerreiro, I think Guerreiro is going to be up for this one. He plays against plays with Torsten Hazard at Borussia Dortmund. I think he's going to be up for this one. I think it's going to be a really good game for Guerreiro.
Yeah.
I think you go with Palhinha. Again, I'm going to go with a 4-1-4-1. I think Palhinha is a little bit fresher coming into this game, and I think we're going to need that, especially like I mentioned, him kind of
and that run last game. That was he went beast mode.
I think man marking De Bruyne is going to be really important to try to neutralize some of that Belgium attack. And then I'm going to switch it up a little bit because just watching the Denmark game, so the Belgium-Denmark game, Torsten Hazard was a big weak spot for Belgium. He was not coming back, and he left their left flank exposed many times. And just in listening to Fernand San's press conference, he made the comment that Belgium's got a weakness that he's not going to say, but he's been watching, and they have a weakness. And I think it might be Torsten Hazard on that left side. So I would actually slot in Rafa, okay, because we're going to be playing on the counterattack. I think his speed might be a way that we can catch Belgium on that weaker left side of it.
So you think he's going to take out Bernardo, though? I don't.
Again, tactically, I'm just saying, the way I've seen it, that might be something that we could try to exploit with Belgium. I would go with Renato in the middle. I would go with Neves over Moutinho. The only reason I'm going to say this is because I feel like we're missing a threat in the middle. Renato's got a great shot. He doesn't always use it, but Neves is a guy, especially with Wolves and the EPL, we've seen it time and time again. He reminds me of Bombas Manish, man. He can line him up from 30, 35 yards out. And I feel like we're missing that threat from in the middle. Two guys who can line it up from outside the box. I like Neves because of that threat that he can bring on the counterattack. He can hit it from 30, 35 yards out, and I think we're missing that a little bit. So I'm going to go with him over Moutinho, and then Jota, and then Ronaldo up front.
So just to add on to that, so that's your lineup. Do you think Fernando Santos is going to do that, or do you think he's going to go similar to how he played last game?
Yeah, that's my lineup. I think he's going to, realistically, he's going to go with, I think, what he did against France, maybe the only change being Palhinha for Danilo. So he may go very similar to what he did against France. And like you said, when it comes to Bruno, man, it's tough. I love Bruno Fernandes, but he just hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
Looking the way he came in, like had he come in against France, he came in and he was showing. Christ's sake, he almost cost us the game.
Yeah, it was a disaster. You have to go with the hot hand, and right now he is not hot at all.
I thought he was going to get motivated with what Mourinho said. Did you hear what Mourinho said? He said the first two games Portugal was playing with 10 men.
He wasn't wrong.
He
wasn't wrong.
I mean, the first game you can argue. Second game, he didn't have a good game.
So hopefully he gets his head back in the game because Portugal needs to be at their best here against Belgium. So, guys, let's wrap things up with the Saji Stars of the Week. And Mitch, since you're Mr. Saji Pair, why don't you start off with your Saji Star of the Week?
São Patricio, man. I mean, Rui Patricio, to me, he is one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the world. He made 2
Fantastic saves.
unbelievable saves. I can rewatch that fucking save over and over. I mean, the way he stretches, I mean, man, it was unbelievable to see him. He won us there. He saved the game for us. And I think we all owe it to him. Not only did he make the save off of Pogba, but then the rebound off, against Griezmann, he gets himself back into position. You know what? He just signed a nice little contract with Roma, so he's going to be playing with Mourinho in the Serie A. I think he deserves it. I love Rui Patricio. I think he's a great keeper, very underrated, one of the best in the world, honestly, in my opinion. So he is absolutely, without a doubt, my Saji Star of the Week.
Yeah, I think
Portugal's always had good goalies.
I think inside the post, he's top 5 in the world. I think the only issue where he's not on a top team is playing with his feet. He's bad. I just wish that's all he concentrated on, just with his feet, because that's where I think his weakness is. But take nothing away, man. That save, unreal. Yeah.
What about you, Christian? Who's your Saji Star of the Week?
I mean, might be a solo pick, but I got to go with Ronaldo again, just because he tied that Ali Dai record. And one thing I seen the other day is that if that Serbia goal counted, he already would have had the record. He already beat it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That goal that he scored and they took away, he would have already had the record. I feel like he's been our leader this whole tournament. I mean, he's got 5 goals. I understand a few of them are penalty spot, but man, knowing the game, those 2 penalty shots, those are high pressure, man. Yeah. This is the tournament on the line. I understand that they're penalty shots, but
there's been a lot of penalty shots.
There's been a lot of lots. And I feel like I got to get it to him, but rightly so. But a close second I have here is Renato Sanches. He's been really, really, really good. Really good. And what we needed in that midfield.
He has the potential to be the storybook, ending for Portugal here. He might be our little miracle man this tournament. So definitely want to keep an eye on him. My Saji Star of the Week, I'm actually going to get out of Euro, and I'm going to say it's Nani over in the MLS. That goal yesterday was sensational. I wish I could show you guys. Obviously, copyright rules, we can't. But he was at the top of the box and just curled it in. Just a stunning shot. It was his 6th goals in 8 appearances with Orlando City as they beat Inter Milan. I hate that name, but Nani is in such great form. He's doing so well right now in the MLS. Of course, some people are already starting to be like, well, did Franz Sanch miss an opportunity to have called him up for Euro or not? I mean, MLS is a very different style. Nothing against MLS. They have some amazing players, great talent. But I mean, I think let's cool our jets there. I don't necessarily think that. I mean, Portugal's got enough depth. I think we're looking pretty good right now. But that's kind of what I think there. So that's it for the Saji Star of the Week. As we kind of just wrap things up, any final thoughts here before tomorrow's big game?
I mean, I touched up on it earlier. I feel like there's somebody else needs to step up. There's been moments like you talked about that huge save. That was huge. Renato came in well, but I feel like we need another Nani. Perfect transition there. We need another João Pinto, another Maniche.
Somebody to come in and João Felix, I think, has been missing. I mean, I love the kid, man. He can really light it up, man. And I feel like this is a tournament coming off, his high profile signing, big price tag on this kid. I think that, everybody's been kind of like, where's that Felix? Where's that guy that, Atletico bought for like 120 mil? Where is this kid? He hasn't even played yet. And I really think this tournament is missing João Felix.
I think so too.
I think if he gets a chance, he needs to come and show up and show everybody why Atletico splashed the cash that they did for him. And Portugal needs it, man. I feel like we are the one thing I feel like we were missing a little bit against France was that little spark of creativity. Renato is that bull, but we're missing that little bit of magic that a player like a Felix could bring to the game. And I really hope that he gets a chance to show it against Belgium.
I hope so too. I really do. I agree with you. I think he's definitely missing in our lineup. We need that. Like, people consider him a star already, right? Not superstar, but star. And we're definitely missing.
We haven't even seen him yet.
Yeah, we haven't
3
seen him.
games in, and he hasn't even showed up.
I mean, he's been hurt,
He
but
was hurt,
still.
Yeah.
He should
Well,
have
as-
hurt.
I hope Portugal can get the job done. Just the thought of Portugal, Italy in a quarterfinal, my goodness. That'll be pretty intense. Hey, just some breaking news for you guys here. Denmark has taken a 1-0 lead over Wales. So Denmark in the lead in the 41st minute in their round of 16 game against Wales. So we will see what happens there. So that wraps up today's episode 4. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to send us your questions, comments, whatever you want. You know how to reach us. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our podcast, the Tudo Tuga. Oh my goodness, podcast on YouTube. It's just, you're so excited about that game tomorrow against Belgium, and it's going to be good. For those of you in Edmonton, don't forget to stay hydrated, stay safe, stay cool, because this heat wave is going to be intense and not as intense, though, as this game tomorrow. It is going to be a classic. So for Christopher, Mitch Fair, I'm Kevin Jesus. Thanks so much for tuning in. We can't wait to talk to you again. And just like we said in the last podcast, hopefully we'll have a lot to smile about. Portugal, Belgium, round of 16, Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Enjoy the game. Força Portugal.
Força, guys. Ciao.